Good morning, namaste. Welcome to JLU Knowledge Series Season 1. This is episode 7, powered by FICCI Young Leaders for Madhya Pradesh, organizing partner LinkedIn Bhopal, LinkedIn Local Bhopal, and Jagran Lake City University. We have with us Ashit Kukian who is the CEO of Radio City, India's leading radio network. Ashit sir comes with more than 2 decades of cross-functional media entertainment and management expertise. He's blessed with unique leadership qualities. This is his second stint with Radio City. His last role was as a president, Revenue, Times Network, and he was also a part of core team that launched Zoom. He's also worked with leading brands like Femina, Filmfare. Ashit sir is a performance-oriented team leader. His skills include, guys, keep on counting, brand management, media planning, business development, advertising, sales, strategy, leadership, team management, and his interests are traveling and spending quality time with family. And on a personal note, he owns a very cute little dog whose name is Chester Cookian. Welcome, Ashit sir.
Good morning and thank you. I think you have really made me rediscover myself. I think so. I never knew that I have so much of talent. Yeah, and good morning to the students out there. I would have loved to be in a physical presence, but yeah, I think it's the COVID affected world. So happy to be here and hope so that this interactive session will give some nuggets of information to our students out there.
Absolutely, sir. And I would want to tell all our audience that myself, I'm RJ Pinky. I'm the mentor and station head of Lake City Voice, which is the digital campus radio of Jagran Lake City University. It's out and out student run radio station, and we are audible across India. Now, Ashit sir, my first question to you would be, it's not a question, it's kind of an experience that I had on checking your Instagram handle. And I saw one of the quotes over there which said that in a world where you could be anything, be kind. So what was the mindset behind, because I see Ashit Kukian sir, the human behind this quote. So if you can just explain a bit about it to us.
I think this was pushed a long time back, but I think it's so much more relevant now today in the pandemic world. I always believe that as leaders, one of the most important thing for a leader is to be empathetic. Because
Correct.
when you really empathetic and understand the needs of your employees, and the rest of the things are taken care of. I have a young son who says that if you take care of your people will take care of your business, and it couldn't be more truer than ever. So yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, the thought process was very clear that I'm a people oriented person. I believe my strength lies in my team, and over the years I must say that all my success that I've got over the years is because of a good team that I've got. And hence in this so-called cruel world, it's you rather be kind than anything else, is what I believe.
Yeah. So even I read a similar quote which once said, you just need to take care of your team, and your team is going to take care of your clients. I think this is on the same lines, and it's amazing. Now, Ashit sir, I want to ask you about your journey from BSc Physical Sciences to today, the CEO of Radio City. I want you to share with us 2 learnings and 1 turning point of yours.
Well, yeah, I mean, to begin with the BSc Physics, I think first and foremost, a rider to all the people out there, in that sense, I'm ancient, so possibly in our times, we had the liberty of not really planning for ourselves as our future is going, and again, we were in an era where professions meant being a doctor, an engineer, and so on and so forth. The current different professions or career options were not there. So yes, after schooling, and the next logical thing is that if you can't get into medical or engineer, especially if you are a boy, you get into science. So for me, science was a default. It was not something that I had designed. But yes, I loved science for 2 reasons. A, because it allowed me to be spending more time in college, because apart from lectures, you also had your practicals and your experiments in the labs to be done. So that allowed you to be far more time in the college. So that, I think, is one of the reasons that I loved being in college. Yeah, post graduation, I think, as all we all come from middle class backgrounds. So the next thing is that you've seen your father having struggled hard, you want to kind of give him that supporting hand. So unfortunately for me, I didn't have to really think much. I knew that it had to be a job. Yes, my initial 4 5 years has been just a flow, honestly, because uh, I started my career with Johnson and Johnson. So
Okay.
I was a professional service representative. Basically, the way to go about being a professional service representative is to meet doctors and advocate and give them your brands and talk to them about your products.
True.
It also meant meeting chemists, because ultimately for the doctor to prescribe, you had to know what doctor is prescribing what. uh, from there, I moved on to Berger Paints, which is again completely different, because it was a completely consumer durable kind of a product. So there, the kind of people I met was architects, designers, consultants.
Wow.
The other end of that, again, like
Uh,
in the case of medical doctors to chemists, here it was painting contractors and paint shop owners and so on. From there, I was part of the L'Oreal launch team in India. So I
okay.
was when L'Oreal launched. In fact, it was not L'Oreal then; it was Laboratoire Garnier, and they had launched
Okay.
the first range
Ah,
of shampoos called as Ultra Do. You know,
okay.
that was the shampoo that they launched, and I was part of that. There, the range of people I met was from chemists to retail shops to salons. Yeah,
Ah,
and from there, late 90s, actually media is a by chance thing that happened to me. It was not by design. So I had one
hmm.
of my uh, sisters, who I call her as a sister. Lakshmi Shetty was working with Times, and she one day
Ah,
called me up and said, do you want to try out joining the Times of India, because they are looking out for people? And I said,
okay.
why not? you know
Huh.
and then I went and gave 3 levels of interview, and finally I was selected. The rest, I believe, is history as far as media goes for me, because from
Yeah.
there on, I got stuck on to media, and I think I found my liking
Wow.
being in media. As far as learnings is concerned, I think across all the companies, I think the best part of being in a people interface business is that you get to learn a lot from the interactions that you have with people. And for
Correct.
me, that interaction has always been important. So for me, I take learnings from every interaction that I do, every person that I meet. So there are a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
of things, the love
Mm-hmm.
and respect for people and the empathy part of it has been enhanced, because when you make and meet various ranged people, right from a very senior doctor to that chemist guy who's just working there as a salesperson to sell the product. You
Mm-hmm.
have a variety of experiences to you, and that really kind of broadens your horizon of to what you need to look at life from, the vision and the prism that you need to look at life from.
Yeah, exactly. This is what, we at Jagran Lake City University, we try to, just pass this on to students, especially all the creative students, that you need to be a great observer and absorb experiences and life experiences and people and their life journeys, because they somewhere then, definitely leave an impact in your creative journey as well. And one turning point, Ashit sir, if I would want to ask you that, what was that one turning point in your career that, when you look back at it, you just believe that, yes, that was my turning point?
No, the turning point, I from the late 90s, early 90s onwards, I've been in media. I think my turning point from the way I got grown into the world of media is possibly in 2005 when I joined Radio City. I think
Okay.
the kind of growth that I saw in myself, both as an individual and professionally, is when I joined 2005. It was not an easy decision for me to join radio in 2005.
Uh-huh.
Apurva Purohit, who was my ex-boss at Zoom, had joined Radio City.
Okay.
And one fine day, she called me up and said, do you want to join Radio City? And
Huh.
this is the role that you have. It was a national head corporate role. At that time, I was working with the Times, almost more than 13 years of being with Times. Almost the kind of bonding with Times is so strong. It was
Yeah.
not an easy call, but I just told her, give me a week's time. And it didn't take much time because, I think, good sense prevailed. And it was a good long
Yeah.
13 years and a good fruitful 13 years with Times. And I said yes. And I joined. And from 2005 to 2015 has been a journey of learnings, ups, downs from a business perspective. But I think, at the end of it, one feels that it was a great journey. And I'm happy that I took that call. And thanks to
Mhm.
Apurva, I think she
Yeah.
made it far more, if I may say, enlightening for me throughout the journey.
Huh, huh. And Ashit sir, now because we are living in unprecedented times, and talking about radio, how has radio changed itself or adapted itself? How it was before COVID, and how do you see it emerging or coming out of this space after COVID?
Okay, so I think radio's relevance will continue to be there. In fact, as we speak now, just about day before, I saw an article in the ET where the credibility factor of radio has been brought in front. I think it's one of the most credible mediums along with print. As far as radio listenership is concerned, I think during COVID, the listenership is actually increased. I
Okay.
believe, in this hybrid world, now with this whole work from home culture, I think people,
Mm-hmm.
there is no concept of prime time. Earlier
Yeah.
you would either consume entertainment before work or after work, or before school or after school. Now that you're all at
True.
home, I think it's happening across the day part. So
Correct.
pre-COVID, our listenership time spent would have been around 1 hour, 50 minutes or so. Now it is almost close to 2.5 hours, which is next
Mm-hmm.
best to television. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So the fact is that, and again, when I'm saying radio, typically for people who stay in the metro cities get a little confused about radio. Radio is not just metro. Radio is that last, you know, uh, point where radio is listened to in a
Mhm.
tier two, tier three market also. So yes,
Correct.
the
Correct.
relevance of radio is continuing to grow. In fact, the listenership has grown, and that, to my mind, is a positive sign.
Wow. Wow.
As far as
So
the
yeah.
opportunities of radio, and how should students, since it is an audience comprising of student, I think there's a whole
Yes.
lot of opportunities from a radio perspective, because radio, obviously brings in the kind of creativity that is required. It's a medium which thrives on emotional quotient. So there is a lot, brands want to resonate with something which is more emotional. We all know
Absolutely.
that radio is a personal medium, and the kind of
Correct.
impact it has on the listeners, especially with the RJs, because it's
Absolutely.
more like a friend. The interactions
Yes.
that you have, yeah, while you're listening to the radio station, you're thinking that the RJ is speaking to me.
Yes.
You know that
Yes.
better. Who else than you? You've been at the other side and
Yes.
done.
Yes. Yes. It is
You're
so
doing it right
true.
now also. So I think the relevance of radio has not changed. It's only the context in which it has to play its role is changed. From what it
Okay.
was 20 years back to now.
Mhm.
So I think the way radio is kind of adapting itself is that they realize that the kind of because, like I said, it's a credible medium in a world full of fake news and fake stories. You need a medium which gives you those credible information, and radio gives you that. Coming to
Absolutely.
the RJs, I think they are all, slowly, people are moving into this micro influencers kind of a concept. So if you see, there's a lot of
Mhm.
social media influencers. Who are they? They are basically people who are able to create impact on consumers
Mhm. Mhm.
vis-a-vis a particular product or a
Correct.
service that is available. And that, to
Yeah.
my mind, radio RJs can do the best, because that's the role they are constantly playing. In fact, the reason why the government reached out to the radio industry during the pandemic is that they believe uh, communication given by RJs regarding
Mhm.
social distancing, wearing a mask, and all the knows and don'ts that you need to do to ensure that you are not affected by COVID.
Yeah.
Radio is the medium which delivers that. Yeah. Apart
Yeah.
from that, as the digital world grows, I think adoption and adaptation both for radio becomes very easy, because it's a medium which can go to any medium. All you need to do is just format the content in the manner that you want to put in the medium that you want to play around with, whether it's
Mhm.
podcasts and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Correct, correct.
I don't know whether that answers your question, but yes, yeah, there's a lot
Absolutely.
more in store for radio, is all I can say at this point in time.
This is so encouraging, because I believe that all the students who are here with us right now and who will be just going across this video later on will be so much motivated to come and learn radio and grow further, because there is so much of scope. Listenership has grown tremendously, which is an amazing, I think, feature and a sign for us at radio. And as you added the radio, the RJ, and RJ is that's such personal connect, sir. I don't think so a print can give you that, or a television can offer that to you, the personal touch that a radio jockey and a brand gives to you. So you can share your secret with me. You can, you have my shoulders to cry on, and of course you can share your joys too with me. So that's absolutely, and it's a magical power of radio. Now I want to go again back to students, because you have an extensive knowledge of media across print, radio, television, and out of home. Students many a times have a confusion as to what to choose. Should I go for radio or for television or for print? So if you can just help them clarify these doubts. So
fortunately, I don't suffer from format myopia. I believe communication is platform neutral.
Correct.
If you create good content, consumers will follow your content. So to answer the question, we are living in a world which is hybrid, like I said, A.
Yeah.
B, and in a world where consumers are not linear. So, ultimately, if you're looking at any medium, you're looking at it from the perspective of how much of an engagement a particular medium has with the consumer. Today, when you do studies about media consumption habits, and this, I think the students should know, that you will find that most consumers consume most mediums. So you will possibly read a newspaper. It could be an English or a language vernacular newspaper. You will also watch television. Of course, you'll have a choice of programs. You will also listen to radio, and you'll also watch OTT, and you may watch your social media, and long format, short format video platforms. So the consumer is consuming all this. So why should an advertiser look at it from a linear perspective? So I think for the students, I think you should look at it from a perspective that how passionate you are.
True.
If I have to advocate radio here, I think what radio allows you, like I said, we have already discussed, it allows you to be creative. It allows you to be giving solutions to brand in a contextual environment and in a storytelling environment. I think that's what brands look out for. Podcasts and all today allow you the storytelling format of communication. And that's the advantage of radio. And the best part of radio is that once your content is created, adapting that content to any medium is absolutely not difficult. And we are doing it right now. If you see, most podcasts or streaming platforms are using creatives from people in the radio industry, because ultimately, if it's audio, who else in the radio industry? People who are RJs and voice over artists and all, who are people part of radio industry who are doing it. So I think that's a lot out there, Pinky.
Yeah, so I believe that whatever all these digital platforms are now doing, we at radio had been doing already before, in an audio format, and now it's just a different format of audio, just podcast and just sharing memes and just doing a lot of videos, which I think we as artists used to do. But now with the digital boom, it has just got extended. One more question that I have in my mind is that now, since we all have cell phones in our hands, and with internet connectivity, and we can have all our own YouTube channels, how should this is from a mentor's perspective, I would want to ask you, so how do I convince my students somehow as to see wherever when you're coming to me at radio, this is equally strong and powerful as having your own YouTube channel, coming and doing a show or hosting something or writing a script or doing anything, because that is so much in their minds, the YouTube channel, running their own channels, that it at times becomes a little challenging for me personally. So I would really want you to just guide me on that.
Okay, so first and foremost, let me give a little data point. In 1990, media consumption was an hour. On an average, a consumer would consume media for an hour. The same media consumption in 2000 was 3 hours, and in 2020
Hmm.
media consumption is 9 hours. Now, this is to answer the question of, does that 9 hours mean only one medium? Of course not. The reason why it's become 9 hours is that along with television, along with radio, along with TV, along with print and OTT and everything put together, the time spent has increased. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a cost for every medium to
Correct. Correct.
issue. Now, coming back to students having their own YouTube channel vis-a-vis an established radio channel, or even your own campus radio. I think what's important is the kind of reach that radio allows you. And especially when you're looking at radio, the radio reaches across demographics, across psychographics. You know, digital in a format at times may restrict you. At times, I'm not saying always.
Yeah.
Radio doesn't. So
Correct.
that's the best part about radio. And as instant as it can be, today radio is also as instant as digital. You can think about
Right.
something now, the next moment it can go on air. So unless I know what specifically the students are looking at, or a generic answer I may not be able, because it starts with the passion of the individual to kind of know what is it he or she is looking out for me to give an answer, because I
Huh.
can't behave like a
Mhm.
know-it-all. But there is
Yeah.
enough and more merit to be in radio if there are students who are listening, to
Huh.
be part of radio and be creative and enjoy what you're doing. And that, because there is so many private and radio players, also proves the fact that it also makes business sense, if that is ultimately what you're looking out for.
Yeah, exactly. And I would just want to give an example, like because now we are digital and we can be heard uh, not just in cities, metros, even in towns and villages. What we did last year during the Teachers' Day special, we featured teachers who were teaching kids in those villages, remote areas where they did not even have the facility of an Android phone. So we recorded them, and the best part, I think, the satisfaction that it gave to us was when we saw them listening to us in that remote village on a small cell phone and listening to their own voices. I think that impact, as you rightly said, no other medium can do but radio, and that personal connect is absolutely to another level. So radio is immensely powerful. And Ashit sir, now I want to ask you that you must have interviewed like hundreds and thousands of people for job openings. So what are the highlights that impresses you in a candidate? Because I am sure this will be really helpful to so many students, because they are now graduates, alumni, and looking for jobs or going for job interviews. So what do you look in for a candidate when you are just going for a job interview
So
and
basically,
interviewing?
I think uh, is the attitude, because skill sets we believe can be developed. It's the attitude of an individual to begin with. And I think what people like me look forward to is how much curious you are. Do you have a curious mindset? Because I think a lot starts with curiosity.
Yes.
So I look at a lot of passion. Are you passionate about what you want to do? And these are things which can be easily identified when you interview an individual. And for me, integrity and commitment is what I look forward to. So if it is freshers, of course, commitment will have to go by a judgment. But if it is a seasoned professional, then the resume itself reflects about the commitment of the individual and so on. So for
Mhm.
me, I basically look at people, how open are they to kind of learn, and this
Mhm.
I'm saying across level. You may be 15 years experience, 20 years experience.
Absolutely.
For us in media, learning doesn't stop, because by the time you think you're known it all, the whole landscape of media has changed around you. So
Yes, yes.
you have to be a forever learner. So
Yeah.
these are the qualities. Somebody who has a willingness to learn, a curious mindset, uh, an attitude which is positive, and somebody who believes that he can do everything as far as tasks and jobs are concerned. And those are the key attributes that I look in an individual when I do media recruitment. Though now I don't do the frontline level recruitment, but I of
Yeah.
course look at people who are broad based in their understanding of of the world per se. Because
Correct.
one of the things that clients, agencies expect from you is not just the medium you're selling, but they want you to be have a global know-how on the world of media as far as knowledge is concerned. So your
Yeah.
knowledge beyond your own medium that you're selling is
Hmm.
extremely important, because you're giving your solution in the context of so many other mediums around you. So
Correct. Correct.
that's the kind of things that I look forward to.
Correct. So now there are so many people who are with us. Any question, guys, you have at any point, you can just come in and drop your question. We'll be happy to take it, because this is going to be, we want it to be an interactive session where, we have more participants coming and interacting with us. So till the time we have a question popping up, Ashit sir, I want to just, just share with you that JLU provides practice-based learnings. Those are just not restricted to assignments and lectures and classroom lectures. How do you think these practice-based learnings, will help the students when they actually go into the real professional world?
So when you're saying practice-based learning, if you can just elaborate a little, what
So,
exactly are you?
so just like, so for example, Lake City Voice, so it's a digital campus radio. They work and run like proper professional radio, employees. So we have copywriters, we have
I lost
editors.
the last line. I lost your last line.
Okay. So it's like industry, making them industry ready while they are studying. So they are students, they are learning the theory part of radio, but they are practically running a radio station as well. And they behave like professionals. So they have to submit their links and their assignments and do their editings on time. How do you think will all of this help them when they're actually in the real professional world?
I think it will help them a lot. That's the readiness of theirs when you come to a live radio station. I
Yeah.
think the practical knowledge of having run a station or worked as an RJ or a music, manager or so on and so forth. I think real-time understanding of how it works is an absolute advantage for the students, because that will clearly give them an entry. So if for example, if there are two candidates who are freshers, but one candidate has got this whole experience of having been an RJ or run a station or been a producer for a show, I think I would prefer that experience, because it kind of saves time to me. We are in a very fast world. We want people to be ready from the day one they come in. I think that advantage, without a doubt, works well.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the students.
Correct. So now I would just, when I was studying, so I never had a professional radio, session given to me in an educational setup. I was just a raw person, and then I got trained into radio, and then it took me some time to understand radio and then get into that format. So how do you believe, if JLU or universities like JLU had been when Ashit, so you were a student, how different would have it been or contributed in your life, your career journey, had
See,
universities like us been with an option at that point of time? Because
it's
even in
a
at
very
my
difficult.
and
Sorry. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah.
It's a difficult question to answer, because I believe if there was a need then, JLU would have been present then at that point in time. I think everything comes as the consumer needs, come in. Some come early, some come late. But if I have to really put myself in a hypothetical situation, like I said, a lot of my uh, career moves have happened by the flow of it rather than design.
Okay.
I was lucky because I got mentored by the best people in the world of media, and
Yeah.
that's how my career got built. So while I've worked, and my large part of my career has been with Times and radio when it comes to media. And in Times I've worked with Mr. Pradeep Guha, who was an icon as far as media is concerned, Dr. Bhaskar Das, Sujay Ghosh, MK Anand, and
Wow.
Apurva Purohit, both at Zoom and now at Radio City. And
Yeah.
in by and large, I have been influenced by all of these people. But two people who have really influenced my life a lot is Dr. Bhaskar Das and Apurva Purohit. For
Wow.
reasons being, I spend a lot of time with them. I've been practically working with them, and the kind of management and leadership styles these people have demonstrated, it has helped me grow as an individual. And over the years, when I reflect back, I can say it has helped me being a better manager. So there are various
Wow.
qualities. Apurva Purohit, as you know, she's fairly active in the digital world, and the theories and the way, the simple way of doing things and explaining people about the advantages of doing things the right way is what we learn from her. And there are enough stories that I can talk about her. One of the things that I would want to tell the students, and again a story coming from where she taught us, is that whatever you do in life, you need to have a purpose. So there is this one small
Yeah.
story that a man is walking by and he sees a guy laying bricks. So he asked that guy, what are you doing? He says, I'm laying bricks. He
Hmm.
said, okay. He walks a
Hmm.
little further ahead and he sees another man again doing the same thing, laying bricks. So
Yeah.
he asks him, what are you doing? He's saying,
Hmm.
I'm building a wall.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
So yeah, he's also laying a brick, but he has a different purpose. Then he walks a few steps ahead and looks another man doing the same thing, which is laying bricks. And the
Oh.
man asks, what are you doing? And he says, I'm building a cathedral. So look at
Oh.
the the way the three people are looking at the role and the work that they're doing. It's the sense of purpose which drives you to do and scale things. And I think that is something which we learned from Apurva. As far as Dr. Bhaskar Das is concerned, I don't know whether you have ever interacted, somebody who's again a big name in media. Servant leadership is a quality which I learned from him. You may be at the topmost position in an organization, but if you're not
Okay.
empathetic towards your employees and understand their concerns, yeah, I don't think you'll be ever successful. So
Wow.
there are enough qualities you have to imbibe. I've been lucky, like I said, to be influenced by these uh, two people. You also wanted to know the downfalls, which we have not touched upon.
Yes, yes. We'll be coming to that soon.
Fortunately, I have not had many.
Okay.
Okay. So is there a time for that also? Then I'll touch
No,
upon
no,
it
no. So
later on.
we have
So
an
it's okay.
amazing
I can.
question that has come to us from Muskan Akbar. She's a senior copywriter with Lake City Voice, and she's asking that as someone who has just graduated, how should one be approaching the radio stations or any media houses which are very majorly known to get connected to start our career? So that's Muskan, sir.
Yeah. So I think most of the radio stations have their own LinkedIn pages, if I'm not mistaken. So you can, of course, approach, because LinkedIn is today seen across as a credible platform. So obviously you can, put your resume across that, or also put your updated resume on LinkedIn. It also doesn't harm for you to just mark a mail, and if you go to the site, you'll get the mail IDs of senior personnel, and just mark a mail
Okay.
and say that you want to be put across to the right person. Whenever a mail which comes to me, I've never ignored a mail. I've always marked it to the HR, and then the process starts. So I think it all starts from how much of effort you are willing to take to get
Correct.
your
Correct. Huh.
which is where I would guide. And today in the world of media, with so many media companies, I'm sure you'll also find some connect somewhere. And there is no harm in asking people to put you across to people. There is no harm in saying if you know somebody, because all you're asking
Yeah.
is for a chance to be interviewed, and then your credentials will take you further. So
Exactly.
it's not a favor when you're asking somebody ki, if you know somebody at Radio City or you know somebody at an XYZ company, can you put across my resume? I think there is no harm in doing that. I have a kid of your age. I would advise that to her also. So there's nothing wrong in that.
Oh wow! And now we are all quite elated because now Ashit Kokian sir is in conversation with us, so we like feel at home when we are just sending something across to Radio City or all the other private FMs, and you make us so comfortable. So my next question to you, sir, is that I was checking this leadership session of yours on LinkedIn, and how Brand Radio City responded to COVID-19. Those were like absolutely magical stuff, sir, that you did. Work time, me time differentiated for employees, knowledge sessions for employees, skip level meetings, no salary card, oh my God, and no downsizing, fun games, not just for employees, but for family yoga sessions. So this, I am sure this all generated from such a, the humble heart and generous and kind heart, and that must have made such an impact to the entire organization. So I would just want you to throw light on that as well, so the students can understand as to how brands support their people as well during such hard times.
So to begin with, I don't think I can take the credit all by myself, because this is something which, as an organization, we believe in. So that, I think, is the first rider I would want to put, because I possibly would have been the spokesperson out there, but it's an effort of so many individuals. I think Radio City as a culture always been a people-oriented company, and as you know that we are also one of the few media companies to be among the great places to work. In fact, we year before last, we were the number 4th great places to work in India,
Yes,
and
yes.
we have global ranking on great places to work. It comes from a culture which was created right from the time, Apurva Purohit in 2005 took over Radio City. We've been building this whole culture of being people oriented, because uh, like like my son, we all believe that if you invest in your people will take care of you, and that has
Absolutely.
over the years been done that, through during the difficult periods of the recession. I think our people have stood by us. So for us, this comes naturally. But yes, having said that, the COVID was a kind of a calamity, or or something that came to our lives which nobody was prepared for. But like I said, because this constant thinking about your people has made us take so much of decisions, and as we went by, we realized we have done so many things. And today when we reflect upon, our employees also once in a while come back to us and saying, boss, we're so happy that we are working with Radio City. And a lot of people who are currently not with Radio City also reflect the same feeling. And I think it's a proud feeling for me and all the seniors at Radio City, that we are doing a lot more for our employees, and
Absolutely.
that's really working well for us.
Absolutely. So I have some friends at Radio City, and they keep on telling me, and I feel so happy. And it's like it's such an amazing feeling that you receive even when you're listening to somebody else sharing that their story to us. And since you also, sir, now take a lot of sessions with students as well, as we were discussing on phone that day, you take sessions with MICA students as well. So they also teach us a lot. So like my students also, every day they teach me something. What do you believe that the students have taught you, or what do you take back from them when you interact with them?
So if you remember, the first thing I said, that I wish I was there in a physical session with the students, because
Yes.
I take a great deal of learnings from students. Because and in my interactions, I'm quite comfortable with students, and God's grace, students have been comfortable with me, and I think that's a happy situation. I take a lot of energy from students, and the current generation of students are someone you should interact. If I keep telling people that if you want to stay relevant in the media world, you have to constantly engage with the students, because the amount of learnings and the depth of knowledge, and of course thanks to Google and the internet world, their level of understanding is so high. Sometimes you end up learning from them, and for me, that is huge thing. That's a huge thing. And I believe for me, that's something which I look forward from my students. And what happens is, when you interact with students directly, you get a lot more from them, because in an open session, I think the interactiveness is far more. I think that's the one of the challenges of being in the virtual world.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have a question for you. That's from RJ Pranam, who hosts Campus Coffee or Class. He's asking, sir, what can be the one thing that students and newcomers can keep in mind to keep going in the right direction? And what has been your mantra to keep going? That's RJ Pranam.
I think every day you wake up with the thought that there is not something more to do, something more to learn. So that's the primary thing. So as students, I think I too believe that I'm still a student. So
Yeah.
so I think the thinking should be no different from every day saying that I need to learn one new thing today. Or I'm one new thing to learn. And it's not difficult. Trust me, it's not difficult. And if you go with that mindset, you will never be in a situation where you think you know it all, or now you don't need to learn anymore. So I think students should be very clear that life is all about learning, and like I said in my introductory, this that learning is something which nobody can take it away from you. Once you've
Absolutely.
learned, that's with you. Knowledge is something which will remain with you. So that's
True.
that's the nothing, no jargon out there. Be a learner forever.
True. And now
I
since
don't know whether I got the question right. Did I answer the question? Because I don't know whether I captured the question right. Yeah.
yes, I think so. And Pranav, like, do you want sir to elaborate more on this? You can just put up across another statement. Yes, sir. So he's saying thanks to you, sir. And now, since no story that is so whenever we are speaking to our guests, it's a story, a story of a life journey. And as we said that no story is complete without some setbacks, downfalls, and just like a Hindi Bollywood movie. So those moments of yours where you felt, where it was a downfall, but you survived and you fought and you just came back.
So professionally, downfall has, fortunately for me, has not been many. I can just think of one instance where I can think I was not happy what I was doing, so I could consider that to be a downfall. After I left Radio City and went to Times, and then after that, for a brief period, I was not either with Times or with Radio City, and that is the period when I was really not enjoying what I was doing. I went because I thought there was a lot of scope to do a lot of newer things, and it was a growing young company, but it didn't work out. And there was a time when I was completely frustrated.
Okay.
And as a professional, if you're not enjoying what you're doing,
Exactly.
I keep telling all my team members that every Monday when you wake up, if you want and you're raring to go to office, you're engaged. And that's what your situation is. Trust me, barring those few months where I was really not happy, and maybe I had that feeling, not once in my 3 decades of career I've ever felt on a Monday or any day that today I don't want to go to office. And that's been a motivation for me. So to give you the story, so this is the time, uh, I was completely frustrated, and frustration is something which very rarely comes to me. So you can imagine a situation of somebody who's been having an easy ride all these years, comfortable, doing well, getting recognitions, bosses loving you. It was a situation where one was not really knowing what to do, and that is the time, two people who stood by me. I always keep telling that uh, when the times are good, all of them are with you. अच्छे वक्त पर सब साथ में देते हैं. लेकिन it's during the bad times you want people, and it's also true in the professional world. So two people, again, I know I've taken their names before. I don't. Both of them are people who don't like that kind of name to be taken. But Dr. Bhaskar Das and Apurva Purohit stood by me during these difficult times. Whether it is mentoring me, guiding me, giving me solutions, and like I said, it was a brief period, and then I was back with Radio City again. Yeah, but yes, I really value the guidance, because that was the time I needed it the most. And I will never forget that. And I think the learning for me, I've become far more empathetic now than ever, because that's the time when you realize how important it is to value people. Not that I didn't value people before, but it becomes all the more important for you. And I think as you go up the corporate ladder, the more the higher the ladder you are in, more empathetic you have to be towards your people. And that's a learning. And for me, that period of not being happy has given me enough of learnings. So today I believe that brief period has made me not only professionally better, but also made me a better individual. And I must thank whoever who has put me in that situation to have got this advantage of being a better person today.
So it's good to have those bad times, and it's okay to be unhappy, because life hai to ye to hoga hi. And now we have another question, which is, we have a lot of questions actually pouring in. We have another question from Parul Srivastava, who's our communication. She leads our communication team fabulously. She's asking, in radio world, RJs are stars and people love voices. What training Radio City has for a new and young professional in this field?
See, to begin with, we also have the Radio City School of Broadcasting, which is where we train people in the various aspects of radio. So people who want to be RJs actually get trained by RJs in the studio room, and they have a module for that. And we are doing those trainings also. That's, of course, for the Radio City School of Broadcasting students. But when we take a fresher, we kind of train them in-house, because the kind of talent pool we have, all our programming heads are people who are 10, 12, 15 years of the industry. Some of our programming heads are people who have started the career as RJ. So who better than somebody who has got first-hand information of being an RJ? So to answer your question, we invest a lot in, whether it is voice modulation, what should you be looking out for, what is the kind of communication you should do, because we understand what works well because we also parallelly do a lot of research to understand what kind of content works. So those nuggets of what content, how to go about, how much to keep your link length, all those things are trained, and that training is given by our own internal people, because we have a wealth of people who can do that training.
Wow. And this is making me greedy that somewhere maybe we can have some support or help sir, from Radio City, and under your guidance, where even the Lake City Voice, our students as can just reach out to them, and even just we can have some kind of interaction, because we always learn, as you say, so it will be amazing to have that kind of an interaction.
Why not I'll be more than happy to do that.
I'll
be more than happy to do.
So I'm gonna trouble you and your team for this now, for sure.
Sure.
So we have another question.
Contact Jamshed is there to take care of things.
Absolutely, Jamshed. Oh, I've troubled him so much. Okay, so we have another question from Amandeep Singh Ratra. He's from Lake City Voice, again, our student, and he's asking some tips that you would like so that I can have a successful career in radio or any other platforms like television, etc. Amandeep.
See, I think my personal tip to you is, don't affect myopia. What you are doing, whether it is content, whether you are a great presenter or you are a great people interaction person, so that you can do well in sales function. Whatever you want to do, chase what you want to do and makes you happy, and the mediums will follow. And let me tell you, I have worked, just to give you an example, within times I have worked with dailies, I've worked with magazines, I've worked with television. When we came to Radio City, Meru Caps, the out-of-home Meru Caps advertising was done by the Radio City team. So that out-of-home and now digital. And none of them was designed, To my mind, you must first see where your passion lies. Then it doesn't matter. You will start with radio, will end up with television. I have enough of my radio people doing television shows right now. Salil is anchoring shows for sports. He's a morning RJ for the last 12 years.
Wow.
His love for radio has made him a star outside. He's a radio star to begin with. Today he does shows on Spotify. He does shows on sports games like kabaddi and football. So he does a whole lot of things.
Wow.
So you chase what passion, where your passion lies, the mediums will follow. Take out this whole, net of television, print, radio, OTT. It will flow along with the way you go ahead.
So true. And so somewhere I believe your soul, your heart tells you as to where your passion lies in. When you feel contented by after writing a script, or maybe delivering a job talk, an amazing job talk, or maybe lining up an interview, or recording, or maybe just doing a shoot. I think where your passion lies, and that's absolutely perfect. We have another question from Ujala Singh. She is our editor from Lake City Voice, and she's asking, after COVID-19, challenges have become for graduate students. So how will we grow in media industry? Okay, so there have been so many challenges, during the COVID-19 challenges. And how do you believe and that media students can still grow in media industry amidst these challenges?
So to begin with, the COVID challenge is not just for the media industry. So I understand at this point in time, opportunities may be a little lesser than what it was pre-COVID. So my advice to students is you have to learn to be patient. Fortunately for us, with the whole vaccination drive and the country almost coming back to closer to near normal situation, it's just a matter of 2 or 3 months. Come August, and if God's grace, we don't have any other further third wave coming in,
Yes, yes,
all opportunities will open up as much as, because today, if you look at it, the world of media, all your large companies are getting investments. Star Disney is getting investments. Sony is getting its investments. Viacom, in any which ways, is there. All the television channels in the news space are mushrooming and doing well. Radio channels, invariably, when the market improves, will, because we are a completely advertising driven market. So whether it is media or any other industry, you will not have a problem 3 months from now. All you need to know to do is that if you're lucky, you may get an option immediately. If not, use your time to kind of empower yourself with greater knowledge. Either you do a certification course with Google or any such thing, which only adds to your resume. I am
correct.
confident that this is a temporary phase. COVID will not affect India beyond the next 3 to 6 months at best. And I think
Wow.
that is not that alarming state for all of you all. You have to just, I don't know how many more months you have, but 3-4 months you're back, and you will have enough media companies looking out. We are at the moment, if you see, we are recruiting right now.
Oh,
So we
wow.
are recruiting right now. So you will have enough companies coming forward. Don't worry about that. In fact, I
Correct.
believe India will have far more opportunities 3-4 months down the line, because a lot of downsizing some people have done purely on the basis of the P&L. When to run a good business, you'll need good people, and who better than you? I think you guys have a positive future. So don't look at it from a current situation. Look at the future from the fact that things will change, and you'll be in an environment where a lot of options will come in.
Wow. Now we have another question from a new batch student, Yashaswi. She's asking, in the era of online music application, how do we generate more listenership? Because there are a lot of music apps. And then, yeah.
See, the two audiences have been different. For example, I can give you globally, if you look at the US market, which is well penetrated as far as internet is concerned, even there, music exploration, exploring new music, even in a market like US, happens through radio or FM station, as they called in the US.
Yeah.
So the streaming platforms will not take the listenership away from radio for sure, because it's not been done in established where the people, both your streaming platforms have been established and the FM stations have been established. Both of them have their own area to work on. In India, as far as streaming platforms are concerned, I think the listenership is only increasing for us. And unfortunately, the streaming platforms are currently not making monies. They're all investor led, so they're all reeling into losses. So I don't know how far they'll be able to survive. But having said that, even if they do well, and I wish them they do well, there is enough space for both of them to parallelly survive, because the audiences that you're serving, the audiences across the length and breadth of the country that you're doing, because internet still has a streaming music has a defined set of audiences. So
Correct.
each will survive, and the listenership is any case increasing. Like I told you, as we speak, there is about 2.5 hours of radio consumption happening per day.
Wow.
And
wow.
like I told you, in 1990, all mediums put together, it was 60 minutes. So, consumption is increasing. So nothing to worry on that front.
Wow. So guys, we have few more minutes. Any questions, please pour in. And since sir, you are doing so much, again, on a personal note, this will really benefit the students as well, as to how do you balance your professional and personal life, because all the time your phone must be buzzing. There are flooded with emails and calls, and now these online sessions. How do you just maintain a balance?
See, when you love your job, there is no stress when anything happens job related. So even if a call comes
Yeah.
in when you're at home, you love your job and you know that you're providing a solution, so you're happy to take the call. If you're going to segment yourself saying this is job which I will only do till 6:30, fortunately, in that sense we are also disciplined. So the point I'm saying that if a call comes at 7:30, I will not be hassled. But I know my team also has disciplined themselves, so they all know that till what time they themselves should be working, and only
Hmm.
during crisis you may even call at 12 o'clock in the night. But yeah,
Hmm.
I have never been fortunately for me, in my years of career, I've never been bothered by uh, work calls disturbing me on a holiday or post I have gone home. So I don't know how to answer this question, because I've enjoyed both part, being at home, and I think the best part is when you have a family which understands your commitment to your work. uh, it works well. And having said that, when it comes to giving your time to the family, you're doing more than enough, and they're happy to have that time. And we all respect the fact that there is certain commitments as a professional you need to do, and that gets balanced. I've been fortunate enough to have a family which understands that. And like I said, I've never been in a situation to answer how do you balance this, because I never felt
Yeah.
the need to balance. It has become natural for me.
Exactly. So it's just like your baby, right? So you're just taking care of your baby as
Absolutely.
well, and you're living your life along with it. So I see Jayant Panda sir raising his hands. If you want, you can just join in and ask us question. Jayant Panda sir, he heads us at JSJC. Sir, please come. You can
Yeah.
just come and hi, sir.
Hello.
Good
Good morning,
afternoon.
Asit. It's really inspiring and inciting to listen you, and I really love to lot of insight to have get. Probably, I try to understand, Asitji, that in Indian radio industry we are facing a lot of content innovation crisis because a lot of the content is repetitive. So, in that part, what do you would suggest? And my second question is, what is the scope of podcasting? Because as we are seeing that podcasting is rising as like anything in US and other part of the Europe, but India is in a nascent stage. So, what you kind of what your take and what you suggested? What is the scope of podcasting in India?
So when you're talking about content differentiators, I think a large part of your content is a music play, because if you look at it, apart from jog talks and the rest of the things, majority of your content play is music play. Now the unfortunate part about music play is that you need to play music which your consumers or listeners love. So over a period of time, you play music which is more or less similar to what others are playing, because everybody is going through the same research. Coming to your question on podcast, I think I don't know about the others, but if you're listening to Radio City in any of our stations, we have already started the podcast hours. So we do podcast hour between 11 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There is complete 1 hour of podcasting happening every second hour. And that, to my mind, is something which we are going to build, because this is an interesting form of storytelling format that we do,
Absolutely.
4 or 5 minutes, which keeps your audience engaged. And we also are taking the same podcast, depending on how the digital world requirements are, into the digital platform. So to answer your question, podcasts in India will also grow. I think most of them are seeing that. And like I said, when I was talking earlier, addressing a question, that most podcasts on streaming platforms today, which is happening, is all created by radio content creators. So I think we have the wealth of creation within us, and that will go into natural platform. So podcast will see its natural growth, and like you said, like every growth will happen over a period of time. That will grow, and I won't be surprised that podcast in India will also grow as much as the world is growing with.
In terms of serious content, we feel that in Indian radio industry, the serious content is being neglected, like radio documentaries, radio features, and particularly student. They mean that radio is all about the commercial radio. So, how would you suggest our student that how they can innovate in terms of content creation?
See, as a business head, the most important thing is that it's not that people have not tried. There are certain players who tried the talk show formats, and it went disastrous. They had to close down the radio station. So when you look at it from a commercial perspective, because you have answers, you're answerable to your shareholders, to your investors, it becomes difficult to play around with content which, at least currently, till the time we were doing it, consumers are not accepting it. Yeah. Maybe because it is seen in a different light. Radio is seen more as an entertaining medium. So I don't know whether in the current format will radio be doing documentaries and so on. But if the government is kind enough, and if licenses become far cheaper, and if there are multiple stations will come in where the cost of acquisition of content will be low, then people would want to perhaps innovate and take the risk of doing documentaries or giving serious content, which I don't see happening right now, because we are all currently bleeding managing the current business because of the high cost that we are paying. We are possibly one of the few only industry which is paying cost for everything that we are doing, right from our licensing to the towers to the music, everything that we are doing we are paying. So it's a difficult situation, and I don't know how soon that answer you will get, Jayant.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashish. It's really inspiring to listen to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Panda sir. Thank you for joining and asking such relevant questions. Now, another question. I think the Ashit sir, these kids are not letting you go any soon. But
I'm okay.
guys,
I'm okay. Unless you can edit my part of the thing, but still continue with the questions if needed.
No, sir, everything is so relevant. So this is question from RJ Ayan, who hosts Storyboard Show. He's asking, sir, it's been Radio City has been like 21 years and more in the radio industry. So according to you, how the industry is transforming?
The industry is already transforming. If you see, a lot of radio stations are already present digitally. We were the first ones to come out with the radio web platform. RadioCity.in was one of the first radio web platform we did about 10 years back. So from pure play radio to web to podcasts, and as we go forward to anytime content is what radio will also follow. So the transition is already happening. We are largely consumption of radio content. So when we talk about radio content, apart from music, we believe everything, whether it's an RJ talk, the influencing that you do, the RJ influencer way of communication, everything is going. Today we have got RJs who are becoming brand endorsements for style brands, because the consumers look at them as style icons. So Salil today does a lot of fitness related thing. Archana does a lot of do-it-yourself. So I think it is already transitioning itself. So you will see that more and more embracing digital along with radio is what the future is, and we will continue, and radio will have its relevance. I can see it for the next 10 years, if not more, at least, along with digital. So it's not a question of either or. I think radio stations are doing a fine balance of radio and digital.
Wow. So, sir, radio, when we look at radio, basically the first thing that comes to our mind is radio jockeying or RJ. But beyond an RJ, there are so many people contributing for running a channel. And there's something, known as a sales wing as well, or marketing wing as well. Students can go and offer those streams as well. So if you can just throw a little bit of light on those streams, sales, marketing, finance, the technical aspects as well. So radio, there's so much that they can be contributing and working towards.
So in radio, if I start from programming, apart from being RJs, you also have music managers who actually format what kind of music in what kind of geography should be playing, all based on research. Then you also have show producers who create the show format. Then there are people who create this pre-produced features, as we call the Babbar Shades of the world that we have, the humor platforms. Then in marketing, of course, you have the brand marketing team, which works on the brand and looks at every communication from a brand's prism perspective. Then we have a sales team, which of course goes out and does the revenue for the product that you are selling. We have a Audacity. We have a creative team called as Audacity, which is a creative team which creates creative solutions for our clients. And it's it's a bunch of highly creative people. So that's a completely revenue-led function, but completely creative.
Okay.
In that sense. So apart from that, we of course then you have the regular IT, because IT also you need different kind of IT strengths to be part of a network broadcasting radio station. Then you have the other functions like HR. HR has an important role in radio and in media per se. So there is enough and more departments that it is there, and if you love radio, you can be part of any of those functions and still contribute and be happy about the fact that you're doing meaningful work. Because at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, you have to do to make your heart feel happy that you've done a great job.
Exactly. So just feel the happiness, let the happiness flow in, and let your heart and your family swell with pride as you work for radio, work with passion and a purpose. And this has been an amazing session, sir. I mean, I think this is not enough. We still need more of it. And we would love to keep connecting back to you. And there'll be so many other questions pouring in, because some students just will text me later on, ma'am, mujhe ye puchna tha. I'll for sure forward it to you. And your message, before we wind up, I would want you to give one message from your end to all of us at Jagran Lake City University and at JSJC, our Faculty of Journalism and Creative Studies.
So I think the way to be successful is to see that you kind of aspire to be the best to begin with, and don't set limits for yourself, because when we were in school, we were always told that the sky is the limit, and I say that sky is not the limits. It's just the beginning of things limited by our own sight. So there is life beyond being in the sky. So I think your aspiration should be beyond the best that you need to be, and I think the rest will follow.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an amazing learning session, not just for students, but for all us as well, the faculty, the mentors, the guides, all of us here. And it is like I'm on cloud 9 just speaking to you. There's so much of buzz within my family as well that I'm going to speak to you, and within our team groups as well, Lake City Boys. So thank you so much for being a part of this session with us at JLU Knowledge Series, episode 7, season 1. And I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to our Pro-Chancellor Abhishek Mohan Gupta sir. Thanks to Professor Divakar Shukla, who's the Dean, Faculty of Journalism and Creative Studies, the faculty, staff, students at JSJC, and the tech team, the communication team, the studio team, so who always helps us put up such sessions, these online ones. And thank you so much from all of us at JLU, and definitely we would love to have you visit us. And jo mere backdrop pe aap ye dekh rahe hai na sir, that's a studio.
Campus.
Yes, so we would love to have you with us, and I think we need to schedule a 3-4 hours ka session, not any less than that.
Sure. Whenever time permits and work permits, we will definitely be there.
So thank you so much, sir. Thank you to you. Thank you to the Jamshed as well. I've been troubling him so much with my messages, and for sure we are going to trouble you further as well, because I'm sure my phone is going to be flooded with so many queries from students and faculty. So a heartfelt thanks from all of us at Jagran Lake City University for this amazing session.
So much.
Thank you, sir.